to another installment of Metalhead Central, the show where I take an honest look at the harder side of music and give it an honest rating. We're back in a familiar environment. Shooting this show in a hotel room was an interesting experience. Not sure it's one that I want to go through very often, but it was interesting nonetheless. Today we're going to be delving into folk rock and metal territory as we examine Cellar Darling's new album, The Spell. It dropped March 22nd on Nuclear Blast Records. Is it just me, or has this label been unleashing albums at a frightening pace so far this year? I still love them, but it feels like every week I'm reviewing an album from Nuclear Blast. Oh well, let's see what the good folks at the label have given us this time. Cellar Darling is a fairly new band on the scene. Anna Murphy formed the band after departing Helvete, and the influence she carried over from that band makes itself known on this album in waves. The European folk instrument, the hurdy-gurdy, is all over this album, but it enhances the music instead of overpowering it, and it's one of the most interesting aspects of the disc. One of the things I love about folk metal in general is that it uses instruments that aren't commonplace in our genre, and it creates this amazing metallic music out of it. As far as the album is concerned, The Spell is not light on the folk elements. As I said, there's plenty of hurdy-gurdy, and that combines with some of the other folk elements to create a soundscape that is just as refreshing as it is invigorating. The other more traditional metallic aspects wrap themselves around this and drive the music forward. Through the first half of the album, there are very few moments where the music isn't utilizing a driving, almost rock-focused beat. It's not death metal, but it sure is interesting. There was a lot to enjoy on here, especially in the first half of the album. Album opener Pain is an enjoyable ride through folky and melodic territory. The two tracks that follow, aptly named Death and Love, continue this trend of balancing melodic metal with traditional European folk music. Then comes my favorite track on the album, the title track. Anna Murphy sounds incredible on that song. Her soaring vocals combined with the beautiful melodic guitar work and the backing buzz of the hurdy-gurdy create a track that might be a dark horse for best metal song of the year so far, at least in my view. Then the album enters its second half, and this is where they begin to lose me. The tracks all seem to run together through this part of the disc. A good album has a terrific flow throughout its runtime, where the tracks not only work very well together, but they can each stand alone. This album's second half has tracks, they work well together, but they don't have their own personal identity. It's like watching a movie that has these eye-popping visuals and a terrific story through the first half, but in the second half, they keep the terrific story, and they turn everything a sort of a dull, dingy gray. It still works, but it doesn't work as well as you had hoped it would. That's the case with this album. Songs like Burn, Hang, and Insomnia work fairly well together, but when you try and listen to them, you can't find the end of one track. They just all sort of smash together. Normally, I like to stop and reflect on a track and contemplate what the song was to me and if I enjoyed it or not. There was one time when I looked at my phone, because I was listening to this on YouTube Music, and it was on one song, and then I looked at it again a couple minutes later, and it was a completely different song. I had missed the entire ending of the track. It was such background noise that I didn't even realize the song had changed. All in all, Cellar Darling have released one half of a great album and one half of a dull album. There was a lot to enjoy here, but it also had a lot of drawbacks as well. The album might have flowed, but it flowed itself right into the rocks. It just wasn't enjoyable after track 5, so I don't really recommend the back half of it. The first 5 tracks are a different story. It was a tale of 2 EPs. One was excellent, and the other drab and uninspired. So, in light of those things, I'm giving Cellar Darling's The Spell a 78 out of 100 on the YPS scale. Thanks so much for watching. Click like and subscribe for more Metalhead Central content. I am insanely excited for next week's review because we get to examine and try to unravel an album from the weirdest guy in metal, Devin Townsend. His new album, Empath, drops next Friday, and I cannot wait for it. I loved Transcendence, and I'm hoping Empath will take me on the same amazing journey. Again, this has been Metalhead Central, the show where I give honest rankings to honest music, and I'll see y'all next time.